Tom was alone on the edge of the desert on planet Zarin 5. His job was to maintain a small outpost station. It was not a special job, but it was quiet and peaceful. Tom liked being away from the noise of the big cities. Every morning, he checked the power levels, cleaned the air filters, and made sure the comms were working. He had a small robot named Zip to help with small tasks. They were the only two on the station. That day started like any other. The sky was clear, and the twin suns were just rising. Tom was drinking his recycled coffee when Zip made a beeping noise. A known ship entering airspace. Zip said in its soft voice. Tom looked up. He had not seen a ship land here in almost 6 months. Visitors were rare. Most people avoided this dry and lonely place. He walked outside and looked at the sky. A silver light streaked across the atmosphere. It moved fast and low, like it was in trouble. Suddenly, the ship started spinning. Fire burst from one of its engines. It crashed behind the tall hills, not far from the station. The ground shook, and a small dust cloud rose into the air. Tom stood still for a moment. Then he ran inside and grabbed his scanner. Zip, come with me. That ship's in trouble, Tom said. He got on his sand bike, and Zip floated beside him. They followed the smoke trail to the crash site. When they reached it, they saw the ship was badly damaged. One wing was torn off, and sparks flew from the broken parts. Tom walked slowly toward it. The hatch opened with a loud creak. A figure stepped out. It was tall and wore a full dark helmet and a heavy suit. The person walked like they were hurt but still strong. Tom raised his hands to show he meant no harm. Are you okay? He asked. The figure did not speak. Tom stepped closer. Do you need help? I have shelter and food at the station. Still no answer. The figure tilted its head like it was thinking. Finally, it nodded once. Tom helped the stranger onto his bike. They returned to the station. The figure sat quietly in the corner while Tom checked the comms. He tried to contact command, but the signal was weak. Something was blocking it. Strange. Tom whispered to himself. He gave the stranger water and food. Still, the helmet stayed on. Tom wanted to ask more questions but didn't want to seem rude. I'm Tom, he said. This is Zip. You can stay here until you get better. No one's gonna bother you. The figure still said nothing. That night, Tom couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about the crash and the silent visitor. Who was this person? Why were they out here alone? And why wouldn't they talk? The next morning, Tom brought some tools to check the stranger's suit. He noticed strange markings on the armor, nothing like Earth design. The material was smooth but stronger than anything he had seen before. You're not from any colony. I know, Tom said softly. Are you even human? The figure finally moved. It stood up and slowly walked toward Tom. Then, with steady hands, the figure reached up and began to unlock the helmet. Tom stepped back, surprised. Zip beeped in warning. The helmet came off with a hiss of air. Underneath was a young woman with silver blue eyes and soft, smooth skin that shimmered slightly in the light. Her hair was dark and tied back. She had a calm but serious face. She looked at Tom straight in the eyes, and then she spoke for the first time. Her voice was quiet but clear. You'll regret seeing me. Tom froze. The words hit him like a cold wind, not because they were loud, but because they were strange. Why would she say that? What do you mean? Tom asked. Why would I regret it? The woman didn't answer. She just put the helmet down and sat back in the corner. Tom looked at her for a long moment. She looked human, but something felt different. The shimmer on her skin, the strange feeling in the room, the way the lights flickered slightly around her. Zip moved closer and scanned her. Warning, Zip said. Unknown energy signature detected. Tom turned to the woman again. Who are you really? She looked at him with calm eyes. I'm not here to hurt you, but now that you've seen me, things will change. I was not supposed to be found. Tom's thoughts raced. Was she some kind of alien? A test subject? A soldier from another world? But before he could ask more, the lights in the station dimmed for a second. The ground gave a soft rumble. Something outside was coming. The woman stood up and looked toward the window. They found me, she whispered. Tom followed her gaze but saw nothing in the sky yet. Who found you? He asked. She turned to him. With a serious face. The ones who brought me here. The ones I escaped from. Tom's heart began to beat faster. He had no idea what kind of trouble he had just let into his home. But deep inside, he knew one thing. This was just the beginning. Tom stared at the woman as she stood near the window of the station. She looked calm, but her eyes were focused, alert. The sky was quiet, but she kept watching it like she expected something to appear at any moment. Tom walked closer. You said they found you. Who are they? The woman turned to face him. Not people you want to meet. Not people you can fight. Tom felt a chill. Then why are you here? Why were you in that ship? She hesitated. For a moment, she seemed unsure. Then she said, I didn't plan to crash here. I was escaping them. I thought I lost them. But now I'm not sure. Tom sat down. I think you better tell me what's going on. The woman looked at him for a long moment. Then she nodded. My name is Elra. I'm not from Earth. I'm not even from this galaxy. I was created on a planet called Selin. My people are not fully human, but not fully machine either. We were made to guard something very old, very dangerous. Tom listened quietly. This was far beyond anything he had ever known. He had heard stories about ancient alien tech, but most were just myths. He never thought he would meet someone like her. What are you guarding? He asked. Elra looked at the floor. We call it the core. It is a living machine, a weapon, a mistake from the past. My people were created to make sure it stayed buried, but someone found it, someone tried to use it. That's when everything changed. Tom leaned forward. So these people coming for you, they want the core. She nodded. They don't care who gets hurt. They just want power. When I refused to help them, they tried to destroy me. My ship was damaged. I lost control and crashed near your outpost. Tom was silent for a moment. Then he said, and now they're coming here. I think so. Elra said softly. They can track my energy. They don't give up. Tom stood up and walked around the room. His station was not built for defense. He had no weapons. Only scanners, solar panels, and basic tools. If something was coming, he had no way to fight it. Is there a way to hide you? He asked. Elra shook her head. Not for long. But I can delay them, maybe even confuse them, if we cut power. For a few hours, it might slow them down. Tom nodded. We can try that. Zip, prepare the power down sequence. I'll make sure all outside signals are blocked. Zip beeped in reply and moved to the control panel. As they worked, Tom kept thinking about Elra's words. A living machine, a buried weapon, and a woman built to guard it. It sounded like a story from an old book, but she was real, and the danger was real too. Why did you say I'd regret seeing you? Tom asked quietly. Elra looked at him with a sad expression. Because once people learn the truth, they never see the world the same way again. Some become afraid. Some try to use it. Some just disappear. I didn't want that to happen to you. Tom smiled a little. Well, I've already seen you. No turning back now. Elra gave a small smile too, but her eyes still held worry. Later. That night, the outpost lights were dim. The power was running low to avoid detection. Tom sat near the main window, watching the sky. Zip stayed close, scanning for movement. Elra stood beside the doorway, her suit open at the top but still covering most of her body. Her silver blue eyes glowed faintly in the dark. Tom finally asked, Are you a soldier? Elra shook her head. Not really. I was built to protect, not to fight. But sometimes, protection means battle. Tom nodded. Do you ever get tired? She looked at him. Yes. I may be strong, but I still feel. I still remember everything, and some memories are heavy. Tom didn't ask more. He understood that. Some things were too hard to explain. They sat in silence for a while. Suddenly, Zip beeped 3 times. Motion detected in upper sky zone, it said. Tom and Elra rushed to the screen. A dark shape was moving far above, almost too high to see. It was slow, but heading toward the station. Is it them? Tom asked. Elra narrowed her eyes. Yes. A scout drone. They're close. Tom felt fear rise in his chest. What do we do? Elra stood tall. We wait. If it scans and leaves, we're safe for now. If it stops, I'll deal with it. Tom didn't know what she meant, but he trusted her. The drone circled above for a few minutes. Then, it began to descend. It's landing, Zip said. Elra stepped toward the door. Her voice was calm. Stay inside. Do not follow me. Tom stood. I'm not letting you face it alone. Elra turned and looked into his eyes. You helped me when you didn't have to. That means something to me. But this fight is not yours. Please trust me. Tom didn't want to let her go, but he nodded and Elra stepped outside. The wind blew her dark hair back as she walked toward the open sand. Tom watched from the window. Heart-pounding. The drone landed on the ground, its lights scanning the area. It looked like a small flying spider with long legs and a black shell. Elra raised her hand. A soft light formed around her fingers. The drone locked onto her. Then, in a sudden flash, the drone fired a pulse. Elra moved fast. She rolled to the side and released a wave of energy from her palm. The drone shook and sparked. It tried to rise, but she leaped up and struck it with another wave. The drone exploded in a bright flash. Tom gasped. She had taken it down in seconds. Elra stood over the burning remains, breathing slowly. Then she walked back inside. It was only one, she said, but the others won't be far behind. Tom looked at her with new eyes. She was more than he had guessed, stronger, braver. And now, his life was no longer simple. He didn't know what was coming next, but he knew one thing. He wasn't going to leave her alone. After the drone attack, the station was quiet again, but not peaceful. Tom could feel the change in the air. Something invisible was pressing down, like a storm waiting just beyond the hills. Elra sat near the control panel. She stared at the blinking lights with a blank face. Her body didn't seem tired, but Tom could see a kind of heaviness in her eyes. She had taken down the drone with ease, but she knew more trouble was coming. Tom moved slowly around the room. He checked the systems again, trying to stay calm. The drone didn't send a message back, right? He asked. Elra shook her head. Not before I hit it, but it might have already sent a location ping. If they got it, more will follow. Tom looked at Zip. Can we block any incoming signal? Zip beeped, signal blocking at 60%. Some energy forms may break through. That's not good enough, Tom said. He turned to Elra. Can you help Zip boost the shield? I'll try, she said. As they worked together, the station lights flickered once, then again. Tom frowned. That's new, he said. The power grid is steady. Why are the lights flickering? Elra didn't answer at first. She paused, then said, It may not be a power problem. It may be them. Tom stared at her. What do you mean? Some of their machines don't just fly or shoot, Elra said. Some are made to listen. Some are made to whisper. Tom raised an eyebrow. Whisper? Elra turned toward the wall. They send ghost signals, invisible waves that get inside systems. Change them, confuse them. Sometimes they make machines turn against you. Sometimes they make people hear things that aren't real. Tom felt a chill. Are we hearing those signals now? Zip suddenly beeped loud. Incoming unknown frequency. Level 5 distortion. Static and code patterns detected. Tom rushed to the panel. The screen was full of fast-moving symbols. They weren't numbers or letters. They looked more like shapes, circles, lines, and strange curves moving in loops. I don't understand this, Tom said. Elra stepped forward. She stared at the symbols with sharp focus. That's not human code. It's theirs. Can we stop it? Elra moved her hand over the panel and sent a small pulse from her palm into the system. The screen blinked and cleared. Not for long, she said. They know I'm here. They're testing your station, looking for weak spots. Tom walked away and sat down. This is bad. I'm not a fighter. I fix wires. I clean filters. I've never faced anything like this. Elra looked at him. You don't have to fight. You just need to stay strong. I'll handle them. Tom looked up. You can't do this alone. There must be something I can do. She walked closer and sat across from him. Her voice was calm. "There's one thing. You said this station was built over an old mining zone, right?" Tom nodded. "Yes, the tunnels go deep. They stopped digging years ago." Elra's eyes narrowed. "Then that might be why I crashed near here. The core, it's underground." Tom sat up. "Wait, you mean the weapon? It's under the outpost?" Elra nodded slowly. "I can feel it now. It's faint, but real. That's why the signal is stronger. That's what they're coming for." Tom stood quickly and walked to the supply shelf. He pulled out a map of the station and surrounding area. He placed it on the table. "These are the old tunnels," he said. "Most are blocked or unsafe. But this one tunnel will be 3 goes the deepest. We sealed it 5 years ago." Elra studied. "The map. That's the path. We need to go down there." Before they do, Tom stared at the tunnel path. "If the core is waking up, is there a chance it might activate?" "It could," she said. "And if it does, the results would be worse than any attack." Tom nodded. "Then we go." He packed lights, tools, and a scanner. Elra picked up her helmet and looked at it for a moment. Then she placed it under her arm and followed Tom and zipped to the back door of the outpost. They walked across the sand until they reached a steel hatch half covered by dust. Tom brushed off the control pad and entered the old code. The door opened. With a groan, a sharp, cold wind came from below. "It's colder than it should be," Tom whispered. "The core affects the air around it," Elra said. "Even without power." They climbed down the ladder into the tunnel. The walls were made of dark rock with metal supports. Old lights lined the top, most of them dead. Zip turned on its headlight, letting the path dot as they moved deeper. The scanner in Tom's hand started to beep softly, energy reading rising. He said, still low, but climbing. Elra closed her eyes as they walked. "I can feel it. The core knows I'm here." Tom looked around nervously. "That's not creepy at all." After walking for 30 minutes, they reached a large metal door. Elra stepped forward. Her hand touched the door's surface. Symbols began to glow, symbols like the ones on the screen earlier. The scanner beeped louder. "This is it," she said. "Behind this door is the core." Tom looked at the glowing marks. "Can we open it?" Elra took a deep breath. "Yes, but once we open it, they'll know for sure. We'll be lighting a fire they can't ignore." Tom looked at her. "Then we'd better be ready." Behind them, Zip beeped again. Warning. Surface motion detected. Multiple objects entering atmosphere. Tom's eyes widened. "They're here." Elra looked at the door, then at Tom. "Then we have no time to waste." The wind blew strong through the forest that morning. Clouds covered the sky. Tom stood on the hill near the edge of the colony, looking into the distance. He felt something was wrong. He didn't know how, but deep inside, he felt it. Alari stood beside him. Her long silver hair moved in the wind. Her face was calm, but her eyes were sharp. She had felt the change too. Something dark was coming, suddenly. A loud sound echoed through the sky. Tom looked up and saw a black ship coming down. It was not a colony ship. It was bigger, darker, and strange in shape. It moved like a shadow. The ship landed outside the colony, near the old cliffs. People in the colony came out of their homes. They pointed at the sky, confused and afraid. Tom ran down the hill. Alari followed him quietly. They reached the center of the colony. A tall man in a long black coat stepped out of the ship. He had cold eyes and sharp features. Behind him were 3 soldiers with gray armor and silent faces. The man looked around slowly, then stopped when he saw Tom and Alari. "My name is Varek," the man said loudly. "We are here to claim what belongs to the stars." Tom stepped forward. "This is a peaceful colony. What do you want?" Varek's eyes rested on Alari. He smiled, but it was not a kind smile. "We felt a power wake up here," he said. "A power that should not exist. The last wish. The ancient energy." Tom said nothing. His heart was beating fast. Varek walked closer. "You found her, didn't you? The one they call the Wish Keeper." Alari stood still. She didn't speak. Varek's voice became sharp. "She is not meant to live. Her kind caused the fall of many worlds. You should hand her over. Tom took a step in front of Alari. She's not going with you. Varric laughed softly. You think you can protect her? You're just a human with tools and machines. We have ships, weapons, and power you've never seen. Tom didn't move. She's under my care. And I still have one wish left. Varric raised an eyebrow. One wish? Do you think that scares me? No, Tom said. But it should. Varric turned away. You have until tomorrow. If she is not handed over, we will take her by force. He walked back to his ship. The soldiers followed him. The black ship lifted into the air and hovered above the colony, like a shadow that refused to leave. That night, the colony was quiet. People stayed inside. Lights were turned off early. Fear moved through the streets. Inside Tom's house, he sat near the fire, thinking. Alari sat across from him. You should have let me go, she said softly. This would not be happening if I had left. Tom shook his head. No, this isn't your fault. You didn't ask to be hunted. You didn't ask for any of this. Alari looked down. They fear my power, but they don't understand it. Tom looked at her. Then help me understand it. What would happen if I used the last wish right now? Alari's eyes met his. It depends on your heart. If you wish for something pure, it will bring light. If you wish for power or control, it will bring pain. The wish becomes what the heart truly holds. Tom leaned back. That's a big risk. Yes, she said. That's why I warned you. They sat in silence. Outside, the black ship stayed in the sky, like a dark eye watching them. Suddenly, Max barked. Tom stood and looked out the window. A small drone was flying near his house. It had blinking red lights and a spinning camera. It scanned the walls, the windows, and the door. Tom opened a small panel on the wall and pressed a button. A short electric pulse flashed from the roof. The drone sparked and fell to the ground. They're watching everything, Tom said. Alari stood. Then we leave. Tonight, Tom turned to her. Leave? Where will we go? There's a place beyond the cliffs, she said. A valley hidden by mist. The stars cannot see it. The ships cannot fly there. We will be safe for a while. Tom nodded. We'll go. But only if you promise something. Alari looked at him. What? That you won't leave without telling me again. Her eyes softened. I promise. They packed quickly. Tom carried a small bag with tools, a light, and the crystal map Alari had shown him before. Alari held the wish crystal close to her chest. Max followed quietly. They moved through the trees under the moonlight. The forest was calm, but Tom kept looking back. He felt like something was following them. At dawn, they reached the valley. Mist covered the ground. Strange trees with silver leaves moved slowly in the wind. A quiet stream flowed nearby. The air felt old and peaceful. This place, Tom whispered. It is part of what my world once was, Alari said. A small memory that still lives. They built a small shelter from stone and wood. They drank from the stream and rested under the trees. Alari sat by the water, her feet in the cool stream. Tom sat beside her. They'll come looking. I know, she said. He looked at her. I don't care about the wish anymore. She turned to him. I mean it, Tom said. I only wanted to help. But now I just want you to be free. Alari smiled softly. You are strange, Tom. I get that a lot, he said. They sat together as the sun rose. The danger was not over, but for a moment, there was peace. And in the silence, Tom felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. The valley stayed quiet for 2 days. The soft mist floated gently over the stream. Birds with bright feathers flew from tree to tree. Alari sat near the water each morning, her bare feet in the cool stream. Tom gathered firewood, picked fruits, and made simple meals. Max followed him everywhere, wagging his tail like always. They didn't talk much, but there was comfort in the silence. Tom felt safe here. Alari smiled more now. She laughed once when Max tried to chase a squirrel and fell into a bush. Her laugh was light, like music. It made Tom feel warm inside. But on the third night, everything changed. Tom woke up to the sound of Max growling. The dog stood near the edge of the camp, facing the trees. His ears were up. His body was still. Then came the sound soft footsteps in the distance, too many to count. The sound of metal and energy. Tom looked at Alari. She was already standing, her hand glowing faintly with blue light. They found us, she said quietly. Tom grabbed his pack. Can we run? No, she said. They have surrounded the valley. They will be here soon. Tom's heart beat faster. Then what do we do? Alari looked at the sky. I have to stop them. Tom stepped in front of her. You can't face them all. Varric is not coming for a fight. He wants the wish. He wants power, she said. He doesn't care what happens to this world. Tom stared into her eyes. Then we don't give him what he wants. But if I don't stop him, Alari said, he will burn this forest. He will harm your people. He will never stop. Tom clenched his fists. Then let me make the wish. Alari shook her head quickly. No, not now. Your heart is not calm. You're afraid. A wish made from fear can turn dark. I'm not afraid for myself, Tom said. I'm afraid of losing you? Alari looked at him. Her face changed. Her breath slowed. Tom, he reached into his pocket and pulled out the glowing crystal she gave him. It was warm in his hand. You said I had one wish left, Tom said softly. I know what I want. Alari's eyes widened. No, don't say it. Tom looked at her. His voice was steady, even though his hands were shaking. I want you, for a moment. Time stood still. The wind stopped. The mist froze in the air. Alari didn't move. Her eyes were wide, her mouth open, but no words came. She looked like a statue, calm, still, but full of emotion. The crystal in Tom's hand began to glow brighter. The light wrapped around both of them, but it didn't pull them apart. It held them in a gentle warmth. Alari took a slow breath. Her voice was soft like a whisper. Why would you wish for me? Tom stepped closer. Because I care about you. Because you are not just a being of power. You're a person. You're someone who laughs when my dog trips. You're someone who watches the stars quietly. You're someone who gives without asking anything in return. He paused. I don't want to own you. I don't want to control you. I just want you to be with me, if you want that too. The light around them changed. It became softer, warmer. The crystal slowly faded and floated into the air. Breaking into small sparks of light, Alari's hand moved to her chest. Her eyes filled with tears. I never thought anyone would wish for me, she said. Not as a weapon, not as a protector, but just as me. Tom nodded. That's the only wish I ever truly had. The glow faded, and then something strange happened. Alari's body began to shine not with magic, but with peace. Her silver hair sparkled under the moonlight. Her feet rose slightly from the ground. A soft wind circled around her. Then the glow faded into her skin. She looked at her hands. The power is still here, but it's no longer a curse. What happened? Tom asked. You didn't use the wish to change me, she said. You used it to accept me, and that changed everything. Before Tom could reply, Max barked. Lights appeared between the trees. Varric and his soldiers stepped into the clearing. Varric looked angry. So this is where you hide. Did you think we wouldn't find you? Tom stood in front of Alari. It's over. The wish is done. You have nothing to take. Varric pointed his weapon. You think I care about your wishes? I'll take her by force. He stepped forward. But Alari raised her hand. The ground shook slightly. The trees around them glowed with soft light. The mist thickened. Her voice was strong now. No more fear. No more running. You will not harm this place. The soldiers hesitated. Varric laughed. You think I fear your tricks? Alari walked forward. Her feet touched the ground gently. She stood tall in front of Varric. This is not a trick, she said. This is truth. She raised her hand. A beam of soft light touched Varric's weapon. It melted into dust. Varric stepped back, shocked. Alari looked at him. Leave. Go back to your ships. Do not return. Varric's eyes narrowed. This isn't the end, no, Alari said. But it's a new beginning. Varric turned and walked away. His soldiers followed him without a word. The darkness faded as they left the valley. Tom stood in silence. The danger had passed. Alari turned to him. You gave me something I didn't believe was possible. What? Tom asked. She smiled. A reason to stay. The next morning, The valley looked peaceful again. The birds returned to their songs. Sunlight passed through the trees and sparkled on the surface of the stream. Tom sat near the water, throwing small stones in, watching the ripples. Alari walked over and sat beside him. Her silver hair shone under the sunlight. She looked calm, even happy. Max came up and lay between them, his tail wagging softly. "Do you think Varric will return?" Tom asked quietly. Alari looked up at the sky. "Not now. Maybe not ever. He has no reason to return." Tom looked at her. "Because the power is gone?" She smiled and shook her head. "Because he can't take what I've become. I am no longer something to be owned or used." Tom nodded slowly. "So, what happens now?" Alari looked at the trees, the sky, the stream, and then back at Tom. "I don't know. I've never had a choice before. This is the first time I'm free to decide for myself." Tom tossed another stone into the stream. "Well, you're welcome to stay. I mean, if you want to." She gave him a soft look. "I do want to." They both smiled, and for a while, they just sat in silence. Later that day, Tom led Alari through the forest trail that led back to the edge of his town. It was far enough that no one had seen her before, but now everything felt different. He wasn't sure how people would react to her silver hair or her strange glowing eyes. But he didn't care much, not anymore. "Are you nervous?" Tom asked. "Little," she replied, "but only because I've never walked into a place as just myself." He smiled. "That's the best way to walk in." As they reached the edge of the woods, Max barked and ran ahead. He always did that when they were close to home. The dog disappeared around the bend. Tom and Alari followed slowly. A moment later, they saw an old man standing near a wooden fence. He had a long gray beard and a calm face. It was Mr. Bennett, Tom's neighbor. The man raised his eyebrows as he saw Tom walking out of the trees with a woman beside him. His eyes stayed on Alari for a moment longer. But instead of asking questions, he simply gave a kind smile. "Found someone out there in the woods, did you?" he said gently. Tom nodded. "Yeah, I guess you could say that." Mr. Bennett chuckled. "Well, you always were different, Tom." He tipped his hat and walked away without another word. Alari looked surprised. "He didn't ask who I am." Tom laughed. "He's used to strange things. Once, he told everyone he saw a floating cow. No one believed him, but he didn't care." They walked into town. People stared a little, but no one said anything rude. Some looked curious, some just looked away, but no one stopped them, and soon they were back at Tom's small house. It was a quiet place, with a garden full of wildflowers and a wooden porch. Alari touched one of the flowers and smiled. "This feels peaceful," she said. Tom opened the door. "It's not big, but it's home." She stepped inside. The room smelled like coffee and old books. There was a small couch, a shelf with random items, and a corner where Max's bed was kept. Everything felt warm and lived in. "I like it," she said. "It's not filled with lights or machines. It feels real." Tom poured her a glass of water and handed it to her. "You okay staying here for a while?" he asked. She took the glass and nodded. "Yes, this is where I want to be." Days passed. Alari learned to cook simple meals. She helped Tom fix the fence, feed the chickens, and plant more vegetables. She didn't use her powers much anymore, though sometimes the lights flickered when she laughed. One night, they sat outside, watching the stars. The sky was clear, and the moon was bright. Tom looked up. "Do you miss your world?" Alari was quiet for a moment. "Sometimes, but then I remember how I felt there alone, used, feared. And I think I'd rather be here. Even if it's simple, even if it's hard sometimes." Tom looked at her. "You could have gone anywhere. You're still powerful. Why stay?" She turned toward him. "Because you gave me something no one else ever did." "What's that?" he asked. "A place where I'm not needed for my power," she said. "A place where I'm wanted just for being me." Tom didn't say anything. He just smiled and looked back at the stars. As weeks turned into a month, people in the town slowly got used to Alari. Children waved at her. Old ladies offered her pie. Even the local store owner stopped asking questions after she fixed the light outside his shop. Just by touching it, life was becoming normal. But then, one morning, a small ship appeared in the sky. It wasn't large or loud. It landed quietly in the forest behind Tom's house. Alari stood on the porch, watching it. Tom came out with Max. "Do you know who it is?" he asked. Alari nodded slowly. "It's one of my kind. I can feel it." Tom looked at the ship. "Should I be worried?" She shook her head. "I don't think so, but I need to see who it is." Tom grabbed a coat. "Then I'm coming with you." They walked toward the forest, Max following close behind. The ship had a smooth silver surface and soft blue lights. The door opened, and a tall woman stepped out. Her hair was dark, and her eyes glowed gently like Alari's. She looked at Alari and smiled. "Sister." Tom blinked. "Sister?" "Alari." "Step forward. I thought you were gone." The woman nodded. "I escaped the council. I followed your signal." Tom looked between them. "What does this mean?" The woman looked at him kindly. "It means her story isn't finished yet." Tom stood quietly as the two alien sisters looked at each other. Max stayed close by, ears low, sensing something different in the air. Alari stepped closer to the tall woman and spoke gently. "I thought I'd never see you again." Her sister nodded. "After I escaped, I lost your signal. But when you used your power that day, I felt it. I followed the trail here." Tom glanced between them. "You're really her sister." The woman smiled kindly. "Yes, my name is Elia. I'm not part of the council anymore. I'm free, like Alari." Tom looked at Alari. "What does she want?" Alari turned to him. "I don't know, but I trust her." Elia stepped forward. "I didn't come to take her away. I came to warn her. The council knows what happened with Varek. They may come looking." Tom's chest tightened. "So they're coming here?" Elia nodded. "Maybe not now. Maybe not soon. But they will come. They don't forget." Alari looked at Tom, then back at her sister. "If they come, I will not run again. This is my home now." Elia walked slowly around the small clearing, touching a tree and listening to the sounds of earth. "This planet is peaceful, quiet. I see why you stayed." Tom stepped forward. "What do we do?" "If the council is coming, we need a plan." Elia looked at him. "You're brave, human, but this fight is not yours." Tom shook his head. "It became mine the moment she gave up her power to protect me." Alari smiled softly. "He's right. We face this together." Elia studied him for a moment, then nodded. "Very well. Then we have to prepare. They won't come in peace." That night, they sat together at Tom's house. A soft wind moved through the open windows. Alari showed Elia the small garden, the tiny kitchen, and the bookshelves filled with human stories. Max followed them everywhere. Elia looked at a picture on the wall. It was a photo of Tom and his parents. "Your world holds onto memories." She said, "We lost that on our world." Tom nodded. "Sometimes it's the only thing that keeps us going." Elia turned to her sister. "You've changed. I've found something here I never had before." Alari said quietly. Tom looked at them. "What happens if the council really comes? Will they destroy everything?" "Not everything," Elia said, "but they will try to take her. They will not forgive her leaving. And they fear the connection she made with a human." Tom frowned. "Because of me." "Yes," Elia said. "To them, your bond is dangerous. It breaks the old laws." Alari took Tom's hand. "Then we break them." Days passed. Alari and Elia began building a protective shield around the house. They didn't use machines. They used energy from the earth and stars, shaped by their minds. The trees near the house shimmered slightly now. The wind seemed to carry whispers. Birds stayed away from one corner of the garden, where the shield was strongest. Tom helped where he could. He brought water, food, tools. Sometimes he just stood near them, watching. He didn't understand everything they did, but he knew it mattered. One evening, while the sun was setting, Elia stood on the hill near the forest, looking up at the stars. Tom joined her. "Do you miss your world?" he asked. Elia shook her head. "Not really. It wasn't home anymore." Tom looked at her. "Why did you come back for her?" She's my sister, Elias said simply. Even after everything, I couldn't leave her alone. Tom nodded. I'm glad you did. She smiled. She's strong, but her strength grows when she's near you. Tom felt his heart beat faster. I didn't do much. You gave her something the council never did. A choice. The next morning, the sky changed. It turned deep blue, darker than usual. The air grew still. Even Max stood alert, nose high in the air. Alari and Elias stood outside, side by side. Tom joined them. They're coming, Elias said. A silver crack opened in the sky, and a ship slid through. It was sleek, silent, and shaped like a spear. It hovered high above the trees. Alari closed her eyes. I can feel them. 5 minds, all from the council. Tom clenched his fists. What do they want? Elia answered. To bring her back, or end her freedom. The ship sent down a beam of light. 5 figures floated down, landing quietly on the grass. They wore long silver robes and had the same glowing eyes as Alari and Elia. One of them stepped forward. His voice was calm, but cold. Alari, you were warned. You broke the law. Alari stepped forward. I found something better than law. I found peace. Another council member spoke. You still have power, even after the wish. Alari nodded. Because it was not a wish for control. It was a wish for love. The first council member turned to Tom. You, the human, you are the reason. Tom didn't step back. I didn't ask for any of this. I just wanted her to stay. There was silence for a moment. Then Alari lifted her hand. If you try to take me, I will fight. Not for power, for my right to choose. The council looked at each other. They had come ready for battle, but they had not expected her to be this strong, even without full power. They had not expected the human to stand beside her. Elias stepped forward. She is not alone. Finally, the first council member lowered his hand. Then we leave. But know this. You are no longer one of us. Alari nodded. I never truly was. The council rose into the air, returned to their ship, and disappeared into the sky. Tom let out a deep breath. They're really gone. Alari smiled. For now, maybe forever. That night, they sat again under the stars. Max lay quietly beside them. Tom looked at Alari. So, no more wishes. She laughed gently. You used your last one. Remember? He smiled. I know, and I'm glad I wished for you. She leaned her head on his shoulder. I'm glad you did too. Far above, the stars watched in silence. And on a quiet hill in a small human town, an alien woman found her place, not as a weapon, not as a queen, but as someone loved and free.